This is the book of Psalms, chapter 73. I'll start at verse 1. And it's a song or a psalm of Asaph. Truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. Verse 2. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Verse 6, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than heart could wish. That's a spirit, because I was just trying to think of where that scripture was at. The prosperity, because pretty much, again, they were given the fatness of the earth. But, at the same time, you're seeing, the earth is going to need new management. And that's what, the scriptures talk about one kingdom is translated to another in the book of Sirach. And righteous dealings and riches got by deceit, roughly paraphrased. One kingdom is translated to another. Verse 8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. Look at what this devil was talking about doing. Again, look at what this devil is doing. I was listening to the beloved elder. He was going to talk about how this man just doing whatever the fuck he want. He just deported people to the South Sudan, despite these judges pretty much stopping or putting a I wouldn't call it a restriction. It's called a I ain't gonna say it's a court order either. Slovakia. Migrants deported to South Sudan in violation of court order. Right, so he was ordered by, I believe, the Supreme Court, as well as, you got these like district judges, but because it's different branches of pretty much the government, and the executive branch pretty much executes, while the judicial pretty much interprets the law, and the legislation or legislative pretty much comes up or makes law. Well, he's making law. He's doing he's doing what the fuck he want. So he gotta be the king of Babylon. He gotta be the cruel lord, because he's bringing pain. He's bringing misery. And these things that he's doing may not affect you directly right now, but trust me, they will. They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walketh through the earth. That's deep, because that made me think of Noah Harari with all the blasphemous statements that he makes. Therefore, his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly, which is Esau, Edom, the wicked, who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakodash. I say double honors to the elders and to the apostles who taught me this truth. And so peace and salutation to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. I say shalom to the Akim and the Akwap up there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to the truth. To you, I say shalom. Brother Yawasop, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit, through the power of Yahweh, Shemi Yahushai. This lesson is inspired by an article I saw on my Newsbreak app, and the spirit jumped on me, because we looking at the time. Scriptures talk about one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. We about to see an increase of these devils, pretty much. And it's funny how they baiting you too. They doing all this shit to get Jake to get emotional. You know what I mean? They this devil. It makes all the sense now. That poem about the snake wasn't necessarily just for those people that was at those his speeches or those rallies or whatever, it was pretty much to you two-third ass, goofy ass niggas and spiggers and everything else that, what I mean, like the derogatory terms that you label by this devil that trusted in this man. I was watching a video. I did a video on it because it was a female 8 years ago. She was speaking on pretty much not trusting him, and pretty much she was speaking to some other women. And you had Edomite appearing woman. She was like, "Don't trust him." She was like, "This message is for you black men." She said, "Don't trust him." And then she went into how he pretty much, um, did the poem about the snake. She was like, she only know one other person that did that. She was like a guy that she was dating, and he told or did the story of the snake. And she said immediately, she was like, "Well, I'm not going out with another day with you." So this dude got in the office off the vote and did literally, he bit your ass, but you ain't even felt the sting yet. So it reads, officials in Southwestern County in Washington State agreed this week to a $3.5 million payout to settle a federal lawsuit filed by a family of a black autistic man. Damn, that's fucked up. Who was fatally shot by a deputy during a 2021 traffic stop. But what making me do the video is I believe he didn't even really get like reprimanded for it. The family of Genoa, damn, Donald filed the complaint in 2022 against Clark County and several deputies and sheriff's office employees alleging wrongful death, assault, and battery, negligence, and deprivation of civil rights. And with all these different things he cut, like, he done gutted a lot of shit, not just the DUI and diversity, equity, and inclusion, but he did a lot of things for the civil rights. And that's why, like I said again, I can recall how we used to get harassed. And what really pissed me off about it is I got more harassed by Jake, but, you might have that one Edomite cop that was on the force, or he might be on the patrol, but it was like Jake trying to press Esau with shit on, another looking Jake. Now I will say this: that one Jake that pretty much ran over that police officer in Cincinnati, I know it's somewhere in Ohio. They pretty much it was an officer, a black sheriff or a black officer or whatnot. He wouldn't leave him by himself with the white officers. So that, I mean, if you see the video, that the racial tension is at a this shit gonna be funny and terrified at the same time. Because, again, ain't nobody no tough guys. You know what I mean? Like I say, the scriptures talk about the mighty men go wail and clutching they loins. You know what I mean? The mighty men gonna be afraid. But at the same time, you got to go through the straight gate to get to the wide. You know. Yeah, made me think of a diamond or a pearl. All these different things, they go through pressure to get something beautiful out of it. In February 2021, Donald was pulled over by Clark County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Boyle for a faulty tail light, the family suit states, according to Tacoma News Tribune. Shortly before the traffic stop, deputies heard about suspicious activity in the area near a reported drug house. Two deputies ended up joining Boyle at the stop, one of whom later said they thought they saw a weapon in Donald's car that turned out to be a screwdriver. Donald was unarmed. According to the suit, when Boyle asked Donald to step out the car, Donald did not immediately respond. Boyle then tried to pull him out of the car and punched him in the nose. In the process, and then how do you I mean, again, I know this dude ain't missing no sleep or nothing like that, but as Boyle struggled with Donald, the vehicle's gear shifted, causing the car to lurch forward. Boyle reacted to the gear shift by shooting Donald twice. The complaint states one of those bullets struck Donald's head. So they was struggling because he trying to pull him out the car. The thing as a police officer, they supposed to be trained to de-escalate situations. You know what I mean? Especially it's a difference between, again, they're allowed to do and get away with a lot of shit because of the fact it's a dangerous job. But 9 times out of 10, it'd be incidents like this, where a person is unarmed or it's nothing where they had to use this amount of force. A lot of these people were just really trigger happy devils, you know what I mean? And that spirit that Trump is actually pushing is going to affect a lot of these Edomites, you know what I mean? Like, they can't wait to get a hold of Jake. And you know what? It's good for him too, because you got a lot of Jake. It's gonna take the devil to show his horns for Jake to really realize, oh no, they really hate us with a passion. It's in their spirit. And that's why the fuck I was listening to the one brother. That's why the fuck I hate you. I am racist. Because racist means for your race. You know, why can everybody have pride in their race except for us? They don't even answer that. Fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, again, I can't stand this shit, but at the same time, I could tolerate it as long as you don't say nothing crazy to me. No boy, no nigga, none of that shit. You know what I mean? Because, it's humbling. I got to humble myself. Just imagine how humbling that was for Yahweh Shai, having all that power, and he just kept his mouth shut when he could have fucking, like, destroyed everybody there. That's powerful. The Lord know exactly what he's doing. He was 30 and left behind 3 kids. Damn, Salakia. He was 30 and left behind 3 children. His family members said he was on the autism spectrum and had dyslexia and ADHD. So that's pretty much it. Ain't that something? The complaint also states that the deputies used excessive force against Donald because he was a Jake, citing Clark County's alleged history of not properly training officers on non-lethal de-escalation methods. And you've seen all these things with Floyd, George Floyd. Then they doing the whole thing with the cop talking about they gonna pardon him. Why? To get a reaction out of Jake. And the thing is this: no matter how brothers literally, because we got the blueprint. I was listening to the brother talking about you got the technique, because he was talking about the technique, or I think he was talking about like jujitsu, or he was talking about pretty much how, like, you got these martial arts or these arts, and the different techniques you learn. He was like, but pretty much being a base man, just going off of instinct. The technique is the scriptures. So scriptures talk about a man controlling the spirit. So, you can see what they doing, if you got the spiritual eye salve, And I remember the crazy part is, it was a broad I was talking to last year. And she had a little shit. I was saying how the broad's, like, she makes like $6,000 a month. She worked for the hospital, yada yada yada. And went through a whole little bullshit, a whole bunch of shit, but you couldn't tell her. She knew a lot of shit, but she didn't understand nothing. And like, she knew certain things about certain scriptures, but she didn't really subscribe or believe in the scriptures. So I knew it was a lost cause then. But I explained to that bitch, like, because she knew about the Aliens Enemy Act. She knew about a lot of little stuff, Project 2025, and all these different things. But I'm explaining to her, like, this is going to eventually affect everybody, And she was like, no, they just coming after the migrants. And I'm like, well, you got to think about it. They allowed them to come in here to give them an excuse to go after somebody. So what makes it, like, what happens when they go after you for saying something that they don't like or they don't deem, again, they can deem who they want to deem as terrorists. You got these, this technology, these deep fake shit. You got all this shit going on, It makes me think about that one guy, Garcia, again. Like I said, they can't prove he did anything wrong. He wasn't an actual gang member, and they're not even trying to attempt to get him back. And the longer they allow that to happen, that means that they can just do that to whomever they would like to. So, you about to start seeing this devil coming down with great wrath. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. Because that spirit is out here. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. It says, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So, right before the end, this devil was about to rev it up, because he know that his rulership, his kingdom is almost over with, And this devil, trying to pretty much, how did that even happen? That's crazy. The devil was trying to, take out as many Jakes as possible to try to hold on to this wicked ass place. Book of Proverbs, chapter What is the Psalms of Proverbs? I'm so tired, Salakia. Proverbs 4 and 17. This reads, Proverbs 4 and 4, verse 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked and go not in the way of evil men. And you know, who is the wicked? Book of Malachi chapter 1 tells you Esau Edom is the border of wickedness, meaning all wickedness begins and ends with Esau Edom. Verse 15. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not except they have done mischief. Who is they? Esau Edom. You know, talks about in Micah chapter 2 about how they devise of wickedness or the evil devices on their beds, roughly paraphrased. And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. Verse 17, because they were set up to be the wicked on this side, you know. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is literally the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, you know. Just like we're children of the Most High, you know. Yasharallah, Prince Power. Because you got the sons of the Most High, you got the sons of men, and then you got the sons of the wicked. You know, ultimately, you know, this story or this, you know, this story is pretty much based on the two nations of, you know, Yasharallah and Adonam. You know, Esau Edom. Wasted away is he. You know, the Edomites. And you seeing it come to fruition and make all the sense, and it's literally like lining up perfectly because look at what's about to take place. Look at what's going on. You know, look at what he did. He literally, I mean, that was a huge smack in the face too. He literally went after, you know, with great wrath after the northern kingdom tribes, you know, to the point where you got Issachar and Ephraim getting caught up in that. I wonder who they deported to South Sudan. You know what I mean? And more than likely, they paying these countries. It's deep. The Lord gonna be with whom he gonna be with, and at the end of the day, just because if you get caught up in something, you know, ultimately it's the will of Yahweh Shema Shah. Whatever take place, you know, I never expected to be here. You know, but the Lord know me. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't have worked out right. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have worked out right. This way, we can all root for one another. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, we in one accord with what this doctrine is, what this truth is, and we're gonna love on one another in the kingdom. You know. But I'm praying for all of Yasharallah. Well, Salakia, let me rephrase. I'm praying for the elect of Yasharallah. Verse 17, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Yeah, this man literally got pulled over for a taillight and ended up dead. If these people ain't the fucking, the wicked, the fucking, the violent men on the earth, you know, and the scriptures tell you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, you know. You know. But also, it tells you that because of this, the way that this place was gotten, Numbers chapter 35, you know, because this man shed a lot of blood of the so-called Reubenites and Gadites, you know, that was on this land before, you know. Well, you know the history. So because of all that slaughter and bloodshed, you know, the only way to cleanse the land of the defilement of all that killing is by, you know, this man blood being shed, and the way the Lord gonna do it is so cold because he gonna have a multitude of things going on. You know, have a civil war where Esau gonna be fighting against Esau. Isaiah chapter 19, Egyptian versus Egyptian. You gonna have Second Ezra chapter 15. You know, one nation of people standing up to fight against another. That's Matthew chapter 24, Luke chapter 21. I forget where it's at in Mark. You know, nation against nation. This is Numbers chapter 33 and verse Salaki. Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33. Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33. So shall ye not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So ultimately, The Lord, that's why this place is going to be wiped out by those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Because, the scriptures talk about because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. The Lord allowed these devils to. What's cold about it too? It make you think about like a James Bond movie or one of them kid movies where the villain pretty much is about to like what's that, Job chapter 20? In his sufficiency he shall be had in straits. He just about to like bring it to fruition. He gonna get this off and running to a degree, but it's not gonna work out the way he wants it to. As much as you got planned, as much foresight you had, man, you trying to box against the Lord. Man, that was your first mistake. When the Lord, man, that's scary. Scripture said the deceiver and the deceiver are both his. So at the end of the day, the Lord, is going to use you as a sacrifice. And that's why the elder always talk about, this is an altar because it's a sacrifice. This place is going to be utterly destroyed, a lake of fire. And, those that are of the elect, they're going to be beamed up, beam me up Scotty, ain't going to be able to see these things from the chariots, So I'm going to end it with this. This is the book of Revelations, because at the end of the day, they say those that kill with the sword shall be killed by the sword. Revelation chapter 13. So just with violence, how they took this land is how it's going to go out by the way of violence. I forgot what there's at in Ezekiel chapter 25. I might be wrong, but it talks about how the Lord going to use Israel. He's going to use a number of different things, but He's going to use His people, as well. What's that? Where's that at? Psalms? Is it? And my weapons of war, and with thee will I break to pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. I think it's like Jeremiah chapter 51. But, our power is the Lord of Sabaoths, meaning the Lord of armies. Those ICBMs is going to be armies. These other nations is going to be armies. Yasharallah is going to be an army. Ultimately, the Alahayim going to be an army. Whatever the Lord want to use to bring destruction to this wicked ass place. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18. Point is verse 21. And it reads, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone. That's the spirit called Loyim Layab Bashimashah. Yeah. And it's spiritual, like I said, the elder said that they just literally like came to on the spirit. But when you take time to think about it, like with all these different camps and with all that's being said and spoken of, and Jake be going off, it's the elders that literally, the things that they're saying, and then like the men that's following the doctrine and, are the same likewise thinking, it's this doctrine that's coming to pass. It's this doctrine that's manifesting before everybody's eyes. Revelations 18 and verse 21, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon, which is Babylon is modern day America. Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. And like the elder said, it won't be any actual like, it'll be life, but it'll be like desert creatures because this place is going to be utterly destroyed. It said it'll be no more at all and shall be found no more at all. Yeah. That's how much wickedness took place here. And the Lord is going to eradicate it. And that's why ultimately, like when you read Obadiah about how these Edomites is going to serve 1,000 years of captivity and then be burnt up, because that's how wicked, you got to do away with wickedness, you know what I mean? You got to put it away, meaning get rid of it, you know what I mean? Yeah, this man got to go. And then you see the pride on him, though. Like, you can see the pride on him. This man making all kind of moves and shit like that. I meant to do a video about, Lord willing, I'm going to do it either tomorrow or like when I get home, depends. I got like 2 other videos I wanted to go into, but like I was watching a particular guy, and it was talking about this transformative technology. He was going into like, you know, DJ Trump was just pretty much that's why he got that jet, that that $400 million jet, because they've been making deals. So in they mind, they literally, but pretty much he making deals with these countries because they about to bring in this system. That Stargate shit, all that is about to come to fruition. And like the elder said, it takes time to build that infrastructure, but it's built to a degree. And then again, you'd be surprised, and it take that long for that 5G shit to go up. It don't take as long. You got to think about it, like it's gonna take a minute, but it ain't gonna take a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna have money for that. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at them. They talk about passing all these different budgets and shit like that. You know, but Lord willingly, you know, the Lord put the spirit on all the sincere Akim to endure. We know that hopeful. We know that elect is gonna endure. Whatever the Lord throw at them. But all the sincere Akim, the hopeful elect, may the Lord put the spirit on all of us to endure. What the one elder brother said, he was reading a comment. He said, "Toughen up, Buttercup." It was an Edomite. That's some Edomite shit to say. Whenever you hear that saying like that, it's usually you don't hear no Jake no say no shit like that. But when I first heard him say it, it was spiritual because you better toughen up. This shit about to get real bumpy. So I'm gonna end it there. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, I want to give all honor, and give all glory to call Loyam, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Ba'ashim Kodash, double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me this truth, or where I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasharallah, Mawatla Babal.